Hello everyone and welcome to the Bearded Geeks, the weekly grab bag of topics covering movies, comics, video games and TV. My name is Jages. I am the Beard Master. With me today, the marvellous Patrick Brown.
G'day, mate.
Hey, pal.
It's good to be back. How are ya?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Got the original crew on, minus Bob, obviously. the chair is empty over there. We hold a vigil for him every week. Hopefully he'll come back. Hopefully he'll come back one day, but... You know, there's flowers and candles and photos on Bob's chair everywhere waiting for him
summoning.
to come back. But yeah, how you been, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. Been, going through the whole family's gone through the whole sickness thing, but we're all clear now, and everything else has been going really well. Been very busy, lots of kids' parties and stuff like that happening around.
Kids' parties.
Yeah.
We have one. Was it last weekend?
Last weekend.
Yeah, last weekend. Your eldest had his birthday.
Yeah. Mason had his 4th birthday, and then heading to one in like soon actually as well for one of Mason's little friends. He's having a birthday party, and Sonny's got his like in a month from now, I think. So.
Yeah, I got invited to that too. I got to respond to that.
Yeah,
as well,
so lots of stuff happening.
Bloody kids, mate. Jesus,
it's full on.
Speaking of sickness, I'll bring this up.
Yep.
I did say last week that this was going to be our second last show of the year.
Yep.
And then the last show of the year we're going to do was going to be our best of 2018. But just very, very recently, I've got some health shit that's come up, and I need to kind of clear my plate and de-stress a bit. So, seeing as you're here, we're going to not do our best of 2018 episode next week. We're going to just roll that into the end of this show. So today we're talking about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and then the pair of us at the end of this show, we're just going to do our best of 2018 movies, games, TV, just those few things instead of a full show. Of us talking about it and going in depth. We're just really going to just put down our picks because, I need to clear my plate because, I nearly went to hospital last night. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do today. So this is our last show of the year before our Christmas break. So let's bloody get into it. What about that Avengers trailer? Patrick Brown.
Yeah.
Avengers Endgame.
I was all over it. I saw it. And I thought it was a good way to go for a teaser. Just, and they're not showing too much. It's more like the build up to...
It's a tease. They just give us the tip.
Bit of an aftermath kind of thing. Yeah. And I did...
Just the tip.
I really liked seeing, Iron Man like stranded in space.
I like that too. Yeah. And I don't know if that was just with a bit of leftover nanotech he had, and maybe some parts from the ship and that he's pieced together, a helmet, or just enough of it to record a message and that for Pepper. But it looks pretty cool. Looks like maybe we'll get some time travel-y stuff. Got a little glimpse of Thanos in there doing his farming. Yeah. Not doing his farming, he's doing like a gladiator, like walking through the weeds and shit. Or the reeds or whatever, But, it looks pretty cool.
So Ant-Man at the end there, and he's...
Cap's got his strike suit back, which is my favourite Captain America suit. The stealth strike suit from the blue one.
Winter Soldier, wasn't it?
The Winter Soldier one, with the blue one, with the silver emblem and that. He's got that back.
He's had a shave.
In this flick. Yeah, he's finally had a shave. He's not Rogue living off the grid at the moment anymore, so I suppose he probably doesn't have to worry about him come after him because they're probably all dead. Yeah, and the snap is officially been named. It's not the snappening, as we all like to call it. But, it's called there was a prequel or like it might have been a prequel or a spin-off kind of book to Infinity War, and the snap is called The Decimation.
Oh, right.
It's like, woo.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but it looks good. Avengers, as if I won't go.
The Dustimation.
The Dustimation, that's pretty good. Imagine all the vacuuming you'd have to do after that. All the dust, everyone turned to ash.
Yeah, what did happen to all that dust anyway?
There
would have been a lot of it.
Yeah, bloody a whole heap of it. Man. But apparently, it was all... I think from what I interpreted in the trailer, what Black Widow says, and what kind of I read after it, it wasn't just all... Was it just all life, or was it everything living? So that includes plants and that as well. And I don't know. That might be a bit too far.
Yeah, I don't know. It must have just been all life forms that it would have been the same for animals, I guess, and things like that.
I guess, yeah, I suppose.
Because they're technically, it wouldn't have been fair if it was just all intelligent life. Yeah, don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe might have been animals in that as well. Anyway, it don't bloody matter. All them heroes are dead.
They
But,
probably
yeah, I'm looking forward to...
Captain Marvel's little cat probably blew away in the. Oh well, I suppose that was like 20 years before, wasn't it? From that trailer.
Hopefully that cat's not dead because I don't want that cat to be dead. Even though that cat's an alien, we talked about this last week.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yeah. The cat's actually an alien, but it just that species just happens to look like house cats. So the cat's got like human level intelligence and shit, and I don't know, it spits acid and shit. I think it's but yeah, the cat. We talked about that last week.
Okay. Yeah.
Patrick Brown.
Hello.
I bought a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, good work.
Yeah, I got a few games, not many, because they're real expensive. They're still top dollar. Nintendo doesn't really like to put those games on special. Even with like Christmas sales and that, there's like barely any games that are, reduced in price for Christmas. So what did I get? I got Mario Kart. So I can bloody play with me Julie and stuff. We can play Mario Kart. I got Darkest Dungeon. I bought that again on the Switch. But going into my recommendation for today, this is a nice little segue, I bought Dead Cells, which came out this year.
Yep.
It's a pretty cool game. It's like, I've only just kind of been introduced to this term because it's weird owning a Nintendo now because I've never owned a Nintendo. I've never been a Nintendo guy. So like when I fire up the Switch and it's like Nintendo and then you log into it, and then when you go to play a game, it's like, which user do you want to play? And like my icon is just Mario. So and then it pops up like my icon is Mario. It's just weird seeing Mario all the time because I've never been a Nintendo guy, but I really kind of just got it because I wanted it for the portable aspect. And kind of like the indie games and shit.
And there's some pretty good games on it these days.
Oh, there's some fucking great games. But like Dead Cells, my recommendation for this week, Dead Cells, it's like I said, I've just been introduced to this term, but it's a Metroidvania, so it's kind of like a Metroid type Castlevania kind of game. So it's like a side-scrolling, like 2D platformer. It's kind of hack and slash, but it's kind of Dark Souls-ish, so there's a bit of a difficulty to it. So essentially, you play as like this headless alchemist dude, and there are 10 levels, and they're all procedurally generated. So you've got to make your way through a level, and you kill enemies, and when you kill particular enemies or whatever, you'll get dead cells. So these little blue orbs, and you collect them, and you use them to upgrade. So upgrade your health. So you can take more health swigs, you can carry more cash, upgrade weapons and attacks and combos and things of that nature. But as you play, you'll play through the first level, maybe the second one, and as you get through each level, you go to like the upgrade area, and you use your cells to upgrade different things. But then you get to a point when you die, it's like Dark Souls, so you lose everything you're carrying, and you go right back to the very start of the game, and you start over again. But there'll be like a pouch there with coin in it, so like you can carry 3,000 coin or something like that at the beginning, but you can upgrade that. So money in that you've collected, you don't start like empty pockets with money, so you can pick up a bag of loot that you've collected, and then you got to start all over again. But everything you've upgraded stays as it is. So if you've upgraded a skill, that skill stays intact. So you'll play a bit more, you'll collect some more cells, you'll upgrade a bit. Maybe you'll upgrade another perk or something to max, so you can take 2 health swigs instead of 1, and then you'll get a little bit further, and then you'll die again, and you'll go right back to the start of the game, but you've progressed that little bit further with your upgrades. So as you gradually go, it'll get just that bit easier, and you'll get that bit further. So it's like dying is a major part of the game as well. There's no way you'd be able to play this game and get through it in one go.
Oh, really?
You couldn't be able to do it. It's
too hard.
It's probably impossible.
Yeah.
Enemies are too hard, and they'd be too tough and stuff. So like, but I'm really enjoying it because I think a lot of people might find that as like a detriment because like you get so far and then you die and you lose what dead cells you're carrying, but your upgrades you've done stay intact and you go right back to the start of the game. But the levels, like I said, are procedurally generated, so you'll go into a level and it'll be different. Like the layout will be different. The enemies will be in different places.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's nearly different every time you play it.
Kind of evolves a little bit different every time.
Yeah. So, but I'm really enjoying it. Like I don't care about the dying part because I know it's a part of the game. Like dying is much a mechanic, like Dark Souls. You know, you have to get so far and learn and then die, you go back and then you get that bit further. So it's kind of like a Dark Souls type game. But yeah, I'm really fucking digging it. I really like it. Yeah, I can't seem to put the Switch down when I start playing. I sat there and I think I played it for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour straight last night. Just kept doing runs.
Yep.
You know, do runs, collect cells, upgrade, die, go back to the start. You know, just doing it over and over. And I'm gradually getting that bit further.
Yeah.
But as you go, there are certain things you'll come across. Like there's little green blobs on the ground, and hit the right button to tickle it. It'll say, and it'll go, and it'll kind of move.
Oh yeah.
And then you'll get to a point where you'll run into someone, or you'll pick up an item, and now you can, when you run over that little green blob, you hit R1, and it turns into vines. So then you can climb up it.
Oh yeah.
And then there are other things you run across, like, hey, press this thing and then you get some like electrical sparks. But I know for a fact that when you get the ability for that, it's kind of like a standing casket kind of thing, like a sarcophagus. And when you click on it, it'll teleport you down to another one, like in a different area.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you go, you get different things, and those kind of things stay intact. Like the vine one is the first one I've unlocked. So when I run past these little green globs, I just click the button and vines shoot up, and then I can climb up them to an area I couldn't get to before. So yeah, it's
nice.
It's really cool. I really dig it. And that game's only been out, I don't know, 12 months or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I dig it. I dig it on the Switch. There's a little bit of lag sometimes when you play on the portable, but on the TV, it's fine.
Yeah.
I find some of the buttons, because it can get very fast-paced and very heated, kind of like in battle, because if you come across one or two enemies, you're kind of okay, but then there will be places where you run into an area, and there'll be 5 or 6 of them, and they all just come at you, and you're like, fuck, and then it's... and it gets a bit... And, like, because the Joy-Cons are so small, like, you try to be real precise, but I reckon if you played this with a Pro controller, it'd be fucking heaps easier, because it's a bigger controller, the buttons are more spaced out, it's more what we're used to.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
cool.
I really dig it, There's some games coming out next week, too, I want to get. There's a new survival horror game coming out. It's going to be available on the store next week. It's called Viviette. It's like a little 2D kind of isometric, top-down-ish, kind of like a Final Fantasy kind of game, but it's like a survival horror, so it's like in a mansion, and you play like this little dude, and he's got a lantern, so the only area is lit. It's kind of like this circle around you that's like the lantern light, and you got to go through and you kind of like solve the mystery of the house, but there's like a ghost or a demon and shit. It's kind of like Resident Evil 3, where the nemesis would just turn up and chase you. Oh, yeah. Like, it'll just turn up and it'll chase you, and like, oh, fuck, you got to run. And so that looks pretty cool. So I've got that in my watch list on the Switch.
I've been playing, I'm still really into Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
I play a lot of that because Mason obviously gets on it a fair bit in the shed there where I play, and but I jump on it a fair bit, and I just thought I'd mention it's so crazy this last, because I've completed the game, right, but you still have to try and collect more moons because you can unlock more. And
like more levels, or?
Well, potentially, yeah, because I reached 500 moons, which is really hard to get to. 500 moons it's a big task, but finally got there the other day, and it said it unlocked a new level, and I was like, holy crap, didn't even know it existed. And then went there, like Mason was playing and took us there, and it's like an extra hard level, like it's like a near impossible level. They've just thrown that in there for those real Mario fans that
all the
really
hardcore people that collect 500 moons.
Oh, it is. So
like,
insane.
hey, collecting 500 moons was really hard, but if you did this, hey, try this hard level.
So I got like a quarter of the way through it, and that was really hard to get to that point, and there's no checkpoints, so if you die you get thrown right back out and you have to start from scratch again, and it's really hard. So it's like the last hurrah really for Mario. It's the end of the game, and it's like, we're going to throw something really hard at you. So it's like there's lava everywhere and all these real tricky little things. You got to bounce around and do all your little tricks that you've learnt through the whole game, like throw your hat, jump off your hat, go over there and do a triple jump to get to this next spot kind of thing. And it's really tricky, but it's kind of cool that they've thrown that in there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
And we've been unlocking some new suits and stuff too, which is really cool. Like a completely gold Mario, where you're made of chrome gold kind of stuff.
It's like
really...
Spider-Man, where you just keep unlocking more suits.
Yeah, it's so cool like that.
Have you got a recommendation for us this week?
Recommendation. So I reckon I've been watching this new show, that Titans show, you know, the DC one.
Oh, like the live action kind of Teen Titans.
Yeah, yeah.
Robin and...
You know, I didn't think much of it when I first saw the promo stuff. I don't really know these characters. I'm not familiar with them before this. So it was kind of hard for me to get into, but I gave it a chance, had a look. I think mainly because I saw someone mention Batman's in it towards the end, and I was like, ooh, I might see what he's like in there. I
texted you last night, but you'd already started watching it. Oh, no, you texted me and said you started watching it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, hey, Batman, did you see the trailer today? Because Batman's in the final episode, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, the show's actually really good.
Is it?
I quite like it. I've watched 2 episodes. I'm up to episode 3 now, and it's way more hardcore than I actually thought it would be.
What, like brutally or violence?
Yeah, brutal. Yeah. Like Robin is taken down in this alleyway full of thugs, and he's like, you know, he's throwing like his little batarang thing that's the R, whatever, and it's
Robin shurikens
going to someone's eye, and it's like hanging out of someone's eye, and he's screaming, he's like, ah, and then you know, he smashes this guy's head through a car window, and then puts his face down on the broken glass on the door, and then drags it across.
Oh fuck!
Until his whole half of his face is ripped off.
Oh shit!
Stuff like it's brutal. It's R-rated stuff. So people get shot in the head, and you just see half their head blow out the side.
Holy fuck!
Stuff like that. So they're not holding back. They're really going for full, gory kind of stuff, and it's brutal. Like there's this one bit, and like there's like this guy about to try and torture some superhero named Hawk. I don't know who that is, but there's a guy in this second episode, and he's about to torture him, and he gets the snippers out, and he's like, pull down his pants. He's about to do that, but it turns around in the end. I think Robin beats up the torturer and ends up putting the scissors down in his crutch, and so it's like a reverse thing. Reverse thing. He smashes it in there, and then the guy's like,
fuck that.
Yeah, it's brutal. So,
right.
But even the story is really, really interesting, and the acting. I actually quite like the cast. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's growing on me.
It's only like
even
8 episodes, I think. It's like 8 episodes total.
I think I just downloaded episode 10. That was the one with Batman.
Okay,
so
right.
I just decided to get the whole.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing the dodge. I'm downloading, but
everyone does it, mate, except for me.
It's episode 10 I got. And
where do you think I got upgrade from to watch it?
Yeah. So I recommend that show. I reckon it's pretty good.
Yeah, because I saw the trailer. Because I'd seen it. You know, the whole fuck Batman thing.
Yeah.
And I saw the trailer and that, and I was like,
do you know why he says that?
Give it a go.
I was wondering how they were going to explain that, but the reason he says that is because he's Robin's straight off. He's left Gotham and now he's in Detroit. This is where he's got a job as a police FBI agent or an agent or
in
a
Detroit.
cop.
Is not like in Bloodhaven or anything like that. Okay, I guess they tried it because most people wouldn't know where Bloodhaven is or whatever. So
he's like a cop or something. But basically, when he finds these thugs, he decides to put his suit back on as Robin and take them down that way. So, and then he goes in by himself, and all this, it's like a big entrance, and he's like, does the big superhero landing, and then they all look at him and go, oh my God, and they keep looking up, and they're like, where's Batman? And they're all freaking out, keep aiming their guns up, like, where's Batman? And then
he's like, hey, I'm right here.
Yeah, and then he just he continues to take them all down, and at the end he goes, fuck Batman, because he's sick
don't need him.
He's sick of everyone kind of, Batman's the bigger.
Yeah, and then Robin, the sidekick, turns up.
He's the side one. So he just proved himself that he's just taken them all down, and then he's just like, fuck Batman. Which was kind of cool.
Something I always liked about the kind of the dynamic between those two. Like, Bruce takes in Dick Grayson, like, after his parents and that die, and he becomes Robin, but in Bruce's eyes, I think, he was always grooming him to be the next Batman.
Yeah.
Like after his time is done, he would take up the mantle of Batman. And,
even though it's a little hard on him.
There would always be a Batman, Yeah. But I saw that trailer for the final episode yesterday, and it's interesting because we have all these DC shows. Like, you watch the DC movies, and they're never scared about Batman. Batman's always got his own movies and stuff, but they've never really done a Batman live-action TV show. I don't know. I guess because they'd like, hey, we'll just leave that to the big screen because we can make more money off it that way. I don't know how DC think.
Yeah.
But... in like Arrow or The Flash or anything like that, like these kind of established DC TV shows, they always skirt around Batman. Like somebody will name drop Gotham, or somebody will say something about being a billionaire vigilante or something like that. But no one will ever indirectly show Batman. But they've literally just started to do that in like Flash, Arrow, and Supergirl, because they just had a big crossover. And they were in Gotham, and they had Batwoman, and the reason Batman's never around is because he's been missing for like X amount of years, and they show the bat signal and shit. But this is kind of like the first live action show, because I only saw that trailer yesterday, as I was saying, where they actually show Batman. They never show like a front on and like, hey, such and such is cast as Bruce Wayne Batman in the show.
That's what I want.
He's always just like, He's just like a spectre or a figment. Like you see the guy twirling around like with the cape and beating guys up and throwing batarangs, but you don't see his face because it's like blacked out. You just get that silhouette with like the bat ears and shit. But they never, they never actually show him or say, hey, here's Dolph Lundgren as cast as Bruce Wayne Batman in Titans. They kind of don't do that. Like, is a story usually like implemented into the story and a part of the plot. But he's never
because they want to focus
featured
on the Titans, don't they? They don't
there's that, but
Batman could easily overpower that.
Yeah, overshadow everyone
if he was properly cast. Yeah,
but this they build in the trailer that last episode as Robin versus Batman.
Yep.
And then they had like, I don't know, because Batman's gone off the rails. He's kind of more Dark Knight Returns kind of like, which they kind of tried to do in Batman v Superman, where he's beating up guys and he doesn't care and he's killing guys. I don't know if he's killing them, but he's kind of off the leash. He's kind of forget your rules, forget your moral codes and everything. You're not killing.
Yeah, and
he's just fucking dudes up.
Yeah,
because he's Batman.
Brutal.
Yeah, brutal Batman. So I think that's coming to Netflix. Jeez, I think it's in January. I think so. After. Well, I was going to watch it anyway, but after hearing you say that, like, I'll definitely give it a go.
It's worth it.
For sure, yeah.
It's worth checking out.
I didn't realise it'd be that violent or that intense.
I actually thought it was going to be a bit more of a teeny bopper show. I did. I thought it would be a bit more like Runaways with Marvel.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I still want to see Teen Titans Go to the Movies, the animated movie.
Okay.
Earlier this year. It looks like a lot of fun. And... as going into our Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Nick Cage did a voice in that as well. He played Superman in that, and but into the Spider-Verse, he plays Spider-Man Noir. So let's talk about Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, let's do it.
Patrick Brown, was this probably, you'd say, one of your most anticipated films of the year?
Yes, it definitely was.
Anything Spider-Man you're excited for?
Yeah.
I saw another bag what was it yesterday? I was in the shop yesterday. And I saw, like you get like the kids' lunch boxes, like the thermal ones, like, hey, put your thing in here and we'll keep it cool.
Yeah.
And it was one of your embossed Spider-Man designs on the front. And I was like, I better tell him about that so he can get one, pack his lunch in.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this movie for about a year and a half, just waiting for it. So
yeah, because when we had that first trailer, we're I think it was more me and Bob, we're just a little bit iffy about it. Like some of the things, like it was a bit like it was kind of like bombarding the senses, that first trailer,
with the style and
like where he's bouncing off the cars and it's like, and then it flashes white and all this stuff. It was a bit too intense, but that was very, very toned down for the actual film. There's probably only one or two, maybe three times that actually happened in the whole movie. But we saw Into the Spider-Verse. Just under 2 hours it is. I think it's like 117 minutes. But set it up, Patrick Brown. What's Into the Spider-Verse about? We focus on Miles Morales.
It focuses on Miles.
The very first not live action film introduction of Miles Morales?
Yep, definitely. So it's more based around his story, and they kind of start off structuring him first, and he doesn't have powers or anything yet. He's just a kid, and he's
going to school. His
school.
Parents are sending him off to a fancy higher end school, which he kind of doesn't want to go to. He kind of just want to stay.
He hangs out with his uncle every now and then.
Will we go full spoilers for this? Fuck it, full spoilers. Yeah. It's the end of the year. Full spoilers for Into the Spider-Verse.
Why not,
If you haven't seen it, you're a loser. Go see it. You're not losers. You're all right. Just go see it, though. We just want to talk about it. Yeah, so he goes to this school. I like how at the start of the film, it really gives us the time to set up kind of the character of Miles Morales, because you know him, I know him, but average Joe Blow who's going to see the Spider-Man movie won't know who Miles Morales is. So I really liked that the first probably half an hour was really spent on character development, like setting up Miles, like what kind of kid he is.
I love
it. What he's into. Because at the start, you see him at his art table and that, and he's doing his artwork and that. He's really into graffiti. And stuff, and he likes that stuff, and like a bit of tagging, like he does his own stickers with his own logo and name, and he's running through the city and he's sticking these stickers everywhere and tagging the place. But his dad kind of doesn't approve because his dad's a cop. Yeah. So he's like, you're going to take those stickers and that down. But
his dad is why doesn't like Spider-Man either.
His dad doesn't like Spider-Man, and which is why Miles kind of gravitates towards his uncle a little bit more, who's his dad and uncle kind of have a bit of a...
His uncle's a little bit of a thug,
Yeah, they kind of have a bit of a tender relationship there, because it's a bit tenuous because, he's more of a thug and his dad's a cop, so, there's a bit of a strained relationship there, but he likes to hang out with his uncle because his uncle, encourages him, and... he's into his graffiti and stuff, and they go out and they find this wall and that in the subway and they tag it together, and that's something that they do, that his dad wouldn't. So it really takes that time to kind of set up Miles, his dad, his mum and that as well, because his mum's Hispanic, so she's Spanish, and they kind of set that up as well, which is really good. So I really liked how they set up Miles. He's kind of just he's not like a nerdy little kid, but he kind of he gets sent to this new place and he kind of has trouble talking to people and stuff because when he first gets there, there's that scene that's in the trailer, where he gets out of the car and his dad's like, you got to say I love you, over the loudspeaker. And
that's hilarious.
I thought that was kind of stupid because his dad's because he was nervous about going to school. He's like, oh, why couldn't I go back to my normal school? And he's like, oh, you got to go to this and you'll be great. But then he embarrasses him as soon as he gets, he doesn't even get in the front door and his dad embarrasses him. You haven't done that kid any favors, straight off the get-go. You knew he was nervous about it.
Yeah.
But, I like that scene. I like how it sets it up. And then we kind of...
They already set up, Peter Parker in the very beginning as well, so you kind of ran through all that. And
yeah, we have Spider-Man. Yeah. Spider-Man exists in this universe, Peter Parker.
What I absolutely loved about that was how they've... it's heavily influenced by the, Tobey Maguire movies.
Yeah.
It's all the visuals are very much from those movies.
So there's the hanging upside down kiss. There's the stopping the above ground train, holding all the webs pushed up against the front of it. There's all the stuff. Throwing the car through the diner window, but he turns around and he punches it and it sends it flying. And the dance from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, that was the best.
Yeah.
They even did the little dance. He's like, we don't talk about that. I love that bit.
I did too, yeah. I really enjoyed it. But after kind of the introduction and that, then we kind of... Miles is bitten by the spider, kind of like the genetically altered spider, which has Alchemax and that written on it, which I believe Alchemax was... The big corporation from Spider-Man 2099. So, Miguel O'Hara in the Spider-Man 2099 book, he works for Alchemax, in the future in 2099.
So that spider's kind of come back from the future, is that right?
I'd say it's because it's kind of like an alternate, because they deal with parallel universes in this. So, when you see, the regular Spider-Man timeline, he's swinging past hey, it's Coca-Cola. Yep. But in Miles is he swings past the same time. It's it's Soda King or Soda Cola or something like that. Things are just ever so slightly different. But so what's the plot? It's the Kingpin. The Kingpin, his plot, he starts up, what is it? It's What was it fucking called?
Some kind of a dimension.
It's like a dimensional
big machine.
Yeah, it was like a dimensional portal thing.
Portal, yeah.
He sets up, and Miles gets like
because his reasoning is he wants his wife and son back because they died in an accident because he was too busy fighting Spider-Man or something, wasn't it? Or they caught him beating the crap out of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and they went to drive away.
They were shocked and they were killed in a car accident.
So he wants to go and find them in another dimension or something. Is that right?
So he kind of I liked how I didn't think the Kingpin was. I felt it could have been fleshed out just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I like the idea, like he's like this big high end like mobster gangster, and he sets up this big end of the world interdimensional bloody device. But his reasoning is because his wife and son died, and he just wants them back.
Yeah.
So he's gonna like tear the world apart to get them back. So
because he doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He just wants his family back.
Yeah, that was really cool. I quite liked that part of the story, and yeah, it was awesome. And it made for some great visuals as well, like especially with the last fight. You know, having that dimension thing, you could do what you want. Like they had buses flying around, cars, everything clashing, and you got to bounce off it all. Yeah, such a cool idea to really have a bit of epic battle kind of thing.
Yeah,
something that we haven't seen as well.
The interdimensional stuff was really cool, but the one thing that really got me, that kind of, I'd probably say shocked me, is that because Miles is in this centrifuge kind of dimensional portal area, and the Spider-Man of his universe is fighting the Green Goblin, and he's trying to stop the whole thing, and eventually he does, or whatever. And then he's down on the ground, he's knocked out and he's beaten, and he entrusts Miles because he realizes that they're similar, their spider senses go off together, and he gives him like the thumb drive to like shut down the whole machine. He's like, you've got to take this, and you've got to shut it down, you've got to save the world or whatever. And then he's trapped, and then the Kingpin comes along and rips his mask off, and he's got blonde hair, so I had like a big Ben Reilly moment, because I was like,
yeah, I was like, what is this? Why is he blonde and blue eyes?
It's alternate dimension and that. And then the Kingpin just kills him. He just two double fists down on his chest and just kills him, and kills the Spider-Man of Miles' universe. But then you find out that because it's like different dimensions and that, and like, you know, you can exist in another dimension, but it'll just be slightly different. Your hair will be a different color, you know? But then in another dimension, it'll be... So there are, like, infinite parallel universes or whatever in there. It's like a Rick and Morty kind of thing. But in this universe that Miles is in, like, his Spider-Man was perfect. Like, he was the perfect guy. Like, he had, you know, he was ripped. He had the wife. You know, he had, like, all the tech and everything.
Even had a little lair.
He had, like, a little lair. Like, he was, like, the perfect Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, because the dimensional portal's opened and it's pulled spider people from all these other different dimensions. So we get another Peter Parker, we get Gwen Stacy, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham, and we get Penny Parker and her spider armor suit. But the Peter Parker we get from a different universe, like, he's older, like, he's probably, I don't know, I think he said he was, like, doing it for, like, 15 years, so he's probably in, like, his early 30s or something like that. His mid-30s.
22 years.
22 years, was it?
That's what it said. He said.
Shit, so he's nearly 40.
He said, I've been Spider-Man for 22 years.
So he's got, like, graying temples.
Yeah.
And, like, in his universe, he and Mary Jane have split up, and he lives on his own, and now he's, like, overweight. They keep giving him shit because he's got, like, a big gut. And, like, he's just flawed. He's, like, the most flawed Peter Parker you could ever have. And I kind of liked that they had that in this movie, because... You know, you figure when you go to see this, hey, they're just going to pull the Peter Parker we all know and love from a different universe, and he's going to be in Miles's. But, like, it's kind of like the whole infinite dimension kind of thing. It's cool because, like, we're not going to pull that Peter in because we don't want to fuck with that Peter we all know and love. So we're just going to pull in a different version of Peter where his life's gone to shit.
Yeah.
And, like, I really liked how they did that. And that was kind of like a good... Because that thought went through my mind. I'm like, oh, you made Peter all schlubby and he's broken up. But I'm like, no, wait, it's infinite dimension. So this is just a Peter from a similar dimension, but his life's kind of gone pear-shaped.
Yeah, and, I like that. And it made it look like, because he's been Spider-Man for so long, it kind of looks like maybe he was in his prime, and he was like that really good Spider-Man at one point.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, and then now it's kind of come full circle. He's back to like when when he's young and he's struggling, he's got no money and all that. It's kind of like come full circle like that again, which I quite liked. It kind of touched on what Peter used to be like as well.
Yeah, because the story between him and his Mary Jane is like he was that Spider-Man up until this point, because he and Mary Jane were married, but then she wanted to have kids and he didn't because having kids scared him, and then they split up.
Yeah.
And that's where their paths diverged and the whole universe changed for the kind of Spider-Man that we'd know. If he said yes, it would have been kind of normal, but, it has diverged into a different area. But yeah, I really liked his story, and I liked the parallel kind of between him and Peter, like Miles and Peter.
Yeah, it was really good.
Like, he wanted to save the world, and, he wanted to learn how to be Spider-Man, and the other Peter, he was just so jaded and everything. He just, didn't care. He was but he eventually, he does teach him bits in that area, and they warm up to each other, and yeah, we get Gwen Stacy in that as well. I thought Gwen was great.
Yeah, she was awesome.
I really liked the voice choice, Haley Steinfeld.
I just love that
She's in the new Bumblebee movie.
Yeah, she was really good. Yeah, I just love that scene where Miles is trying to woo her in a way, and he puts his hand on her shoulder, and then it's like his hand gets stuck in her hair because he's just got his powers, and
and he can't control
rips
his powers
her hair out.
Yet.
Loved it.
She has to that's how her hair ends up shaved, because she's got to shave it off, and it's kind of like I leaned over and kind of nudged her and went during the movie, and I was like, because it's kind of like the whole kind of puberty metaphor, and then he kind of looks at his hand, he's got hair stuck all over his hands, and I was like, hairy palms, because of puberty, you grow up. But I really dug it. I really loved the story. The humor was awesome. It was really funny. It was a really funny movie.
And I didn't find it all too much. When I first saw a few trailers and that, actually, it never really affected me too much, but I could. You know how sometimes it just feels like it's too much to see and look at because there's so much going on at once. It's really quick. Whereas I didn't really get that when I watched the movie. It was easy to follow. All the visuals were fine to me. It was like watching a visual comic book, really. Yeah, which I loved. And
I was pretty used to it, because when the movie started, we spoke to another person or two, and they said it took them a little bit to get into the movie, because the animation style was so different. It's so different to what we've ever seen. It's so out there. But I think I'd seen enough trailers and stuff. I only had to watch it for a minute or two, and boom, I was into it.
Yeah.
I was fine. It only took me a minute or two to adjust. But there are a lot of stuff where it kind of I think in those first trailers, they kind of literally just took everything that they were going, all the different styles and things they were going to do, and they just compressed it into a minute and a half trailer. And it just felt like sensory overload. But in this, it's hey, all those different things we showed in this trailer, they are in this movie, but they're spaced out.
It's all spaced out well.
Yeah, it's all spaced out very well. It's not constant. There are scenes where there's a scene where Miles falls off a building, and there's this wide shot of him falling down the side of the building. He's going, and he's screaming, and you see all the letters going down between the building, where he's screaming and stuff.
It's cool.
And there wasn't too much of that. So that was there, but it only happened two, maybe three times during the whole movie. But
even the odd words, little pop-up boxes and stuff with words.
Yeah, you got the thought boxes and stuff, the internal comic thought boxes and stuff. When Miles is thinking, the boxes are popping up, and he's like, what? He's because he justifies, he's the voice in my head sounds louder, and that kind of how they showed how they kind of jumped into that comic book kind of thing, because reading a comic book is so much about internal monologue. That's how you get the plot through. Characters just can't swing around a city and talk out loud to themselves. They've got that internal monologue. They've got those speech bubbles, the thought bubbles, and everything. And I thought they did a good job of interpreting that into the film.
What I absolutely loved about this movie, I just fell in love with it, was the eyes and the animated eyes, on both Spider-Man, and Spider-Gwen as well. Just how they got these really big white eyes, which I love, and then they're just so animated, and they can squint, they can close their eyes completely. I absolutely love that. That just topped it off for me. It was because they do that in the comics. That's what you've always kind of wanted to see animated, really, and it came across so well.
When I was watching it, there was one scene where I was watching it, and I looked at the animation and that, and I thought to myself, I was like, this kind of looks like a big budget, like, Telltale game. You know how the Telltale, like, the kind of choose your own adventure games, you know, there was a Batman and a Guardians of the Galaxy and the Walking Dead games and the Wolf Among Us and stuff, where they have that very kind of cel-shaded-y kind of style to the games. Like, it just looked like a big, expensive version of one of those, but with all these extra flourishes and stuff, which, I really liked. I really liked the animation style in this, because it's so different. Yeah. It's so different to anything, like, we've ever seen before. And, I bloody loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Who was your favourite character in this? I think mine was Spider-Man Noir, voiced by Nick Cage.
Oh, yeah?
Nicolas Cage. Fuck, he was good. He only... because Spider-Ham, Penny Parker, and Spider-Man Noir, they're introduced into the film probably just past the halfway point.
Yeah.
And they don't get as much screen time as kind of Miles, Peter, and Gwen. Because they're kind of like the main three.
Just that extra flair, aren't they?
Yeah, that bit of extra flavour, and that is there. Because they're the most out there ones, whereas Gwen, Peter, and Miles, they're kind of the most normal and relatable. Whereas they're like, hey, let's throw in these three over-the-top ones. But I loved Spider-Man Noir. Like, he didn't have many lines, but I think he had some of the best lines in the movie.
He did have some good ones.
Yeah, because there's a scene where they turn up in the basement. Because in Miles' universe, the perfect Peter Parker who died, he had this big basement, this underground lair out in the shed where he had all these spider gadgets, all the different suits, and the spider-mobile, like the spider buggy and the jet and all this sort of stuff. And they turn up there, and Spider-Man Noir, he's like hanging off the roof, and his jacket, like his coat's blowing, like it's blowing in the wind. And it's just like, you've been up there like the whole time. It's like, how is your jacket blowing? He's like, there's no wind down here. We're in a basement. He's like, the wind follows me wherever I go. And then he's like, the wind smells like rain. It's just like, what? And then they have like this little introduction, and it's just cool. He's like, I'm a private eye. Like, I'm Peter Parker for like 1932, and I'm a private eye, and I like to drink like egg milk and punch and fight Nazis. And fight Nazis a lot. And they're like, yeah. And then you had Spider-Ham, who was like kind of like a Looney Tunes style representation they did. Yeah. Because in the books, like, for a cartoon character, he's still kind of drawn a little bit more seriously, like he's proportioned differently. But in this, he was more like a Looney Tunes character, like stretching his arm out like real long and pulling a hammer out of his back pocket.
I loved his fight scenes where, like, especially at the end, and it just went full Looney Tunes. He's like, does that feel like a cartoon? And he's absolutely getting the big bombing knocker and smashing him. You know.
Yeah, because you think like, oh, he's a little pig or whatever, he's a little Spider-Man pig or whatever, he's not going to do much. But then he has this scene with Miles, he's like, don't worry, Miles, he's like, I'll take over. And then he swings in and he like beats the shit, is it the Kingpin? Yeah. I think he beats the shit out of the Kingpin. It looks really awesome. You're like, damn, this is sick.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved all of them. So,
yeah, I think my favourite, was probably, still just classic Peter. I'm a big Peter Parker fan.
Just drawn to him.
I just really liked he was pretty funny, and I liked his look and that. And Miles he's definitely my second favourite. He was just really, I thought Miles
was great
awesome.
in this. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved his suit. His suit's so cool.
Yeah, I did. Like, when we first saw it, like, it didn't do much for me. But, like, when I saw it in this now, like, because he did it himself. He took one of Peter's suits and he just, like, had, like, the spray cans and he just graffitied it, like, himself. Yeah. And he pretty much, so it kind of had that own personal stamp on it. Like, he created his own suit. Yeah. And, yeah, I love that. I love the suit. I love the spray painted, like, spider emblem and stuff. And, yeah, I thought it was great. It was a great way of, like, tying the character to the suit. It really gave it that personal touch.
Yeah, he's really lended it from the Parker that died, like the Peter Parker that died. It's his suit that he's taken. Yeah. And he's just adapted it to his own.
He's sprayed it all black. And, you know, the red symbol and stuff.
So it really had a good touch to it like that.
Yeah. I really, 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 really liked this movie. I honestly think I've been thinking about it the last day or two because it's only been a couple of days since I watched it. But I'm like, is this the best Spider-Man movie ever made? And I'm like, I think it's close, but I think Homecoming just edges it out for me, just ever so much, just by a bee's dick. It just edges it out ever so much. But yeah, like watching this animated movie and all the stuff they accomplish in 2 hours, like Just imagine this, if this exact movie, but it was live action.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Like, the amount of stuff they fit into this movie, like character development, all these different characters, you know, it's funny, it's paced well, it looks great.
Yeah.
Just imagine if they did this in live action. Like, you couldn't do it.
See, I have a hard time kind of rating them together. I don't really rate these movies, like, compare it with the live action ones, because it's just
they're a different beast.
It's a whole different realm.
Yeah.
It's like the cartoon style, but then you've got and real. So I usually keep them separate, but this is definitely the best animated, probably even the best animated movie I've seen. I'd be honest with anything Pixar, Disney, like all that stuff.
Yeah,
this is probably the better one I've ever seen in that kind of category. And in the live action ones, it's probably still, for me, it's probably, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I really like Spider-Man 2 still. It was right up in there for me.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 is still really good.
I love I got a soft spot for all the Tobey Maguire ones, but
yeah.
I
just thought Homecoming was just a better film because it was just we really got that teenage Peter Parker.
Yeah, Homecoming is definitely probably my second favorite.
Yeah.
It's nearly at the top though.
I think it just felt like, and the Vulture, just as a villain, he still felt very relatable. It all still felt very grounded.
Yeah.
And that as well. It didn't feel too big. You know,
exactly.
he wasn't in New York City. He was just in Queens. You know, he was still pretty much had his training wheels on.
See, the Tom Holland ones are starting to really creep up above for me, and I'm waiting for this next one with the Mysterio.
Yeah, Far From Home.
I think that's going to just put them all above for me. Like, I think the Tom Holland ones are going to be my new range of favourites. So,
take it that one step further from Homecoming.
Yeah,
hopefully that's what happens.
I just hope that I just want to see a consistent Spider-Man. So I'm really hoping Tom Holland's ones just go for the next 10, 20 years or something. And I want more and more and more. Just give us all the Spider-Man kind of, just all the storylines. I want to see heaps of stuff. All the different villains. It's really hard with movies because they come out like every 2 years or something. And
yeah, it is now. Because we've had 7 Spider-Man movies in 16 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Spider-Man movies in 16 years. That's the first 3 Raimi films, the 2 Andrew Garfields, the Tom Holland, and now this one. So we've had 7 or whatever in the last 16
I still
years.
think that a Spider-Man is probably more suited to a TV series, but a big blockbuster, high budget quality one.
That'd be expensive to do a Spider-Man TV series. That'd be so expensive.
There's just so much involved in the Spider-Man world that it's hard to put it in a 2-hour movie and then you wait years and years for the next one. Just spend the time, put it in a big season, and do a lot more, and like you can cover more ground, a lot more villains.
If Disney really wanted to do that, I think they could, but they would have to throw so much money at it. You could.
Yeah.
That would be a great way to show Peter's life, because you could have, like, hey, I've got this test and that to do. Oh, MJ wants to go out on a date. Oh, shit, there's a thing being robbed over here. I've got it could be just episodic, like the comic. It could just be Peter's day-to-day life, trying to have a regular life, but be Spider-Man secretly as well.
I'd absolutely
But that would
love
be
that.
such an expensive show.
I don't want to... I wouldn't... Sorry.
You are sick.
Oh, just getting over it. This is the last... I've actually haven't been sick for a week.
He's got the lurgy.
But
I haven't been sick for a week.
Yeah, the aftermath. But I actually, I wouldn't want a cheap, season. Not cheap, but like those mid-range ones where anything that you see these days, TV shows wise, even like the Marvel's Runaways and stuff.
They'd have to throw like Game of Thrones money at it.
That still doesn't look good enough, and it's not really, that it has to be big budget for a Spider-Man one. It'd have to look great.
Game of Thrones money.
I want to see swinging through the city, like same as the movies.
Do you see those dragons in that show? I mean, do you see how good they look?
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, they'd have
Stuff
to throw.
like that.
They would have to throw Game of Thrones money at that show. It would be expensive. Like the episodes would probably be like $10 million each or something like that. It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't wouldn't have to have him being Spider-Man in every episode or having a big fight. You could have him just, hey, here's a shot or two of him swinging around the city. Or here's just like, hey, he's at school, we're just going to do wall crawling, and then this one, he's crawling up the walls or hiding in his own house like he's trying to wash his Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
He comes up, hey, shit, up on the roof,
do so
hide
much.
on the roof or something like that. I don't know.
It'd be such a good thing to see. Like,
But yeah, super expensive.
I just get sick of waiting for all the Spider-Man movies. Just...
You love Spider-Man.
I'm
don't
such
you?
a big fan, but it's just,
You love
they take so long.
Yeah, they do. But they're churning them out pretty quick in that now. Like this whole the Marvel machine.
Especially having Tom Holland in amongst the Avengers and stuff now. You get to see him more often. You know, we've seen him in Civil War and the Avengers now. They're not even Spider-Man movies. He's just there. So it's really good.
Yeah, he shows up in those.
Yeah.
But Sony making this Spider-Man animated film, I think they should just do this. Stop trying to make live-action movies because Venom made you a lot of money, but it was shit. It was a shit movie.
Didn't like it.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2, let's just have Venom in that. And you can make it funny. You can make a comedy like Spider-Man on PS1. There's this scene in that game where Spider-Man and Venom break into the Daily Bugle and Venom wants to bloody surf the web because it's like 1999 or whatever it is. He's like, he wants to surf the web. And you could have more funny scenes. It doesn't have to be violent and intense.
No.
You know, stuff like that. You could have Venom biting people's heads off in animation or whatever, or and actually show it. But
I'd like to see him do stuff like he did in that one Spider-Man game way back. I can't remember which one it was. Ultimate Spider-Man, I think. When you play as Venom and you can consume people rather than eating them and like it's gory.
You just absorb them.
He just
like
absorbs
the symbiote
them.
comes out and grabs them.
Yeah, the big black stuff comes around
and
he just
absorbs them.
sucks them inside, and then
That's
he's
a good
absorbed
game.
them.
That was a good game.
That's a cooler way to do it.
Yeah, I like it, but I think Sony should maybe stop trying to make the whole live action thing, and like this is going to be a hit, and this was pretty cheap as well. Like I looked up the budget for this, and it was only $97 million. Like that's cheap. That's under $100 million. Like compared to budgets for like animated movies and that now, like hey, here's the next bloody Frozen. It's probably $160 million movie, and you're like, fuck off, man. Like this looks outstanding. Like the animation style is so original. But I think they should just stick to making these. We are getting a sequel. We are getting a Spider-Gwen spin-off as well. Apparently the sequel is going to focus on Miles and Gwen's relationship.
All right.
Because there was more that the writers had in this first script. So like they had more of a relationship in this, kind of like a bit of a romance, but they had to cut that out for time. So they're going to take those ideas and put that into the second one. So yeah, like fucking, I'm there, like hands down, I'm there.
Yeah.
Patrick Brown, would you recommend Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Oh yeah, go see it.
I would too.
It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
10 out of 10?
Yeah, I couldn't fault it.
Not even out of 5?
5 out of 5, 10 out of 10.
Wow.
There's not a fault in this movie. It's the most enjoyable thing that you'll see in a long time.
I would totally recommend this movie. When it was done, I like turned to you and I was like, best Spider-Man movie ever.
Yeah.
Give me another one of them. 5 out of 5 from me, but I'm thinking about it, and I'm gonna be real controversial here because I normally do 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, but lately I've been doing like a 3.5, 4.5. I'm gonna give this a 4.8 out of 5.
Ooh.
It was just that bit of Kingpin stuff. I just would have liked to have seen just a little bit more development there with Kingpin.
Yeah.
I really love the animation style. I love all the characters that showed up. We didn't talk about the characters. We had Kingpin. We had Green Goblin was in there.
Yeah.
We had Tombstone.
I want to know what you think about like the Green Goblin, that version of him, the big hulking
one.
one.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
I
liked seeing it like that for once, and I've seen it in the comics like that, similar, isn't he?
In the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was really cool.
Yeah, he turns more into a big green beast kind of thing.
It was awesome.
We had Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Female Dr. Octopus. And I liked her tentacles and stuff. They were kind of like...
So she's related, was she? She was Octavius as well. So is she the daughter
she was just the Octavius of that universe.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't Otto Octavius.
Just a female version of him.
Yeah.
In another dimension.
Yeah, so she's like in his dimension, Doc Ock just happened to be a woman.
Oh, okay.
And a different name or whatever. So yeah, just a bit of a spin on it. I'm not really familiar with Doc Ock in the Ultimate storyline, so I don't know if it's the exact same character. I know there is a Dr. Octopus in the Ultimate storyline, Otto Octavius, but I'm not sure if there's a female version, so I'd have to look into that a little bit further, because I didn't really read a lot of Ultimate books. I read a few, but not many.
I quite liked Scorpion, how he did have just 2 legs, but they're like mechanical cyborg legs.
And they split into
and then they split out, into
like the 8
4 or
Scorpion
6
legs or
something.
the spider's legs or whatever.
Yeah, so I quite like that concept, that idea. I love that.
I liked how he was like Spanish, like he was Hispanic.
Yeah.
And there's a scene, because they do it so much in the comics, like if someone talks in a different language, they'll have like a little a box down the bottom, and it'll have like little asterisks, and it'll be like translated from German or something like that.
Oh, right.
And they do that in the movie, like he talks in Spanish and they have the subtitles there, but then there's a little box in the corner and it's like translated from Spanish. And I was like, that's so good. That's something straight out of the books. And they had the Comics Code Authority logo right at the start of the movie. But last 2 things I want to talk about Into Spider-Verse before we wrap it up and do our best of. Stan Lee's cameo. Very
That's
poignant,
good.
very fitting, because it's after Peter Parker of Miles' universe has died, and he's at the shop buying a Spider-Man costume, and it's like Stan's shop, like he runs it, and he's like, the first line that Stan says, is like, it's hard not having him here, or something like that, referring to Spider-Man, and like, in line with that, after Stan's just so recently died, just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it just hit me.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. But it was good. It was good to see. It was good to see Stan in this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And the after credits scene we didn't talk about.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Right at the very end.
We were hoping to see Spider-Man 2099, weren't we?
We saw Miguel O'Hara. We saw Spider-Man 2099. He's got like a temporal device, like he puts on his wrist, and like he wants to travel through time, and he's like, let's make up like a little spider group, like a little spider society. I'm going to travel through time and meet these other Spider-Men. And she says to him, she's like, well, where are you going to start? He's like, I'm going to start at the beginning, 67. And then it cuts to like the Spider-Man 1967 animated series. And it's of like that, like he turns up, it's that episode, which they made the meme out of, where the 2 Spider-Men are standing there like pointing at each other. So he appears, and like Spider-Man 2099 is the back Spider-Man, and they're just pointing at each other and like, he's like, I'm Spider-Man, and he's like, no, you're a fake, he's like, yes, I'm Spider-Man, and he's trying to explain to him, but the Spider-Man 67's like, you're an imposter, and he's like, yes, and he's trying to explain to him, and it's just so funny, just like in line with that meme and everything. It was really well done. I really enjoyed it.
One more thing I thought I'd mention, it's a good movie when the movie's finished and the whole audience in the cinema starts clapping and applauding.
Our entire cinema applauded, except for
everyone
me.
Clapped and applauded.
Because I don't clap for movies.
I thought, I
just love them
that's when
secretly on the inside. I'm not like at an event or anything. Like if I went to like a big premiere screening where everyone's here to enjoy this film, would have been like, yeah. But not at just like a regular screening down at my local. And you got some bogan down
you're all
the front
strangers.
saying, that was pretty fucking good for a Spider-Man movie. That was pretty fucking good, eh? Let's go do some sick donuts. But yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. 5 out of 5.
Go on.
5 out of 5.
May as well.
I loved it. Go see it. We've just spoiled the whole thing for you. But yeah, I want to see more. I loved it.
Me too. I'm
Easter
actually
eggs
going
in
to
there
see
as
it
well.
in about 2 hours. So.
You are. I'm coming.
I'm watching it again with my little
again.
son. So
I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming as well. Hold me hand.
Because Mason, like me and Mason, are real into. Yeah, he's a big Spider-Man fan as well.
You pushed it upon him.
I did.
You never gave him a chance. You're just like Spider-Man, like I do.
He's just that into it, and I was like, I'm gonna take you to see this movie. So he's really excited.
Does he know he's going to see Spider-Man?
Yeah, he's been watching the trailer, and he's been.
Is he excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. You'll have to text me this afternoon and tell me how you went.
Yeah, he'll be excited. He's a good boy in the cinemas too.
Yeah, because he was good. You took him to see Incredibles 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good for
Pretty
that.
good.
Yeah, good. That's it for Spider-Man. Let's wrap it up. Let's do our best of 2018. I'm sorry we're not doing an extra episode, but yeah, I thought I nearly went to the hospital last night, so I thought, better just cut back on some things. Anyway, best of 2018. We've narrowed it down to 3 categories: TV, movie, and video games. Patrick Brown, it's been a pretty good year for TV, but what would you say is your best favorite? Oh, well, not your best. Your favorite TV show of the year. Mine personally is Cobra Kai. Hands down.
Yes,
the YouTube series, the Karate Kid, where it picks up. and it's from Johnny's point of view, and he starts up the Cobra Kai dojo again. I thought that show was fucking spectacular.
Yeah,
Absolutely spectacular.
I'm on board with that too. That was a real highlight for me this year.
Cobra Kai.
I enjoyed that. I'd probably say Barry was a really good one for me.
Yeah, Barry was good. Yeah,
so
I liked
Barry's
Barry.
one that's really stood out to me. And I just thought of another one. What was it?
I'd probably say The Haunting of Hill House as well.
That's what I was about to say.
That was a good 10 episodes of TV,
You beat me to it.
especially episode 6. I think episode 6 of that was probably the best episode of TV this year.
That was binge-worthy, that whole thing.
I did. I binged the whole thing. I loved it.
Me and Alira, we just sat down and just watched the whole thing. We loved it. It's one of those shows where you just like, we have to watch the next episode. You know, you got to see what happens. So it's really good.
All right, let's talk video games, because I've actually got my 5 movies of the year, but I've got video games. Patrick Brown, I know what you're going to say, but what's your favourite video game of 2018?
My absolute favourite?
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually really hard. We've had 3 big titles.
Just say Spider-Man. Just say it. You know you want it. It's eating away at you. Say it.
Yeah, look, I am going to say Spider-Man PS4.
Yep.
Is my
Marvel's Spider-Man.
Favorite. Only overall most enjoyable, and I'm just big Spidey fan. So I just every time I pick it up, I still play it now, and I'm just like, this is just still a lot of fun.
And the final DLC pack is out, let's see, in 4 days.
Oh, I can't wait.
And we're getting the Into the Spider-Verse Peter
Parker.
Parker
Yes,
suit.
that's all I want. I don't even know the other two, so I just want that suit.
Yeah, it looks cool. I'm looking forward to that. The DLCs the first one was pretty good, although short, with Black Cat. The second one was pretty good, but you felt like you got through it in like 2 hours.
Yeah, not even that. Mine was quick.
I really enjoyed that game. I haven't really thought about it too much, but I'd probably put that down as my number 3 of the year.
Yep.
Now, obviously, the other 2 games of the year, the 2 biggest games of the year, were Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War.
God of War.
Our Red Dead Redemption 2 episode we're going to do in the new year. We're going to do it. We're going to sit down and we're going to do it. So stop asking, because we're going to do it.
Because I think Bob's still got to get through it too, don't we? But
yeah, we're going to see.
Hopefully we can reel him in for it.
See if we can get him in. Get the original crew in.
Because we've both got through it now and done most of the stuff in the game.
And I've played a little bit of the beta online as that as well.
Oh, yeah. I haven't touched online yet. I need to.
Yeah, you should give it a go. You should try it.
Too scared to be honest.
Red Dead 2 and God of War. It's so hard trying to pick one out of these games, even though I already have, because they're both so different and they're both so good in so many ways. Like the immersion in that in Red Dead 2 and Arthur's story, and waiting for that game for so long, like they're all just like big plus points, and that just goes towards it being such a great game. And it was a great game, but like it's that whole Rockstar thing in that as well, where Rockstar just put out a game and everyone just goes 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, it's a masterpiece or whatever, but you're like, it's not really, because there's a lot of shit in here that could be better. Like, it's not a perfect game. Like, that's, if you've been listening to the show, if I give something a 10 out of 10 or a 5 out of 5, I pretty much mean it's faultless, even though it kind of contradicts my Spider-Man thing I did 5 minutes ago. But like, if you give a game or a movie a top score, you're saying it's absolutely faultless. There's not a thing wrong with it. But Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't perfect. And I couldn't give it a top score. Honestly, Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably about a 9 out of 10 for me, honestly. Yeah. But my game of the year is God of War.
Yeah, cool. So that's your number 1?
That's my number 1 game of 2018. Yeah. The story, the way it was told, just the unbroken shot, the whole long take of playing the game. It's one big, long, unbroken shot.
Yeah, absolutely love
the story between Kratos and Atreus. Like, I've never really been into God of War. I played God of War 3 on your recommendation. And I enjoyed that game, but I never connected with Kratos because he was like, I just want revenge and I just yell at everything. And he wasn't that exciting of a character. It was a fun game to play, and like doing the big boss battles and stuff was great. But aside from that, it's not too appealing for me. But this like over the shoulder kind of RPG, again, almost Dark Souls-ish.
I would have even said it was more like The Last of Us. Kind of, that's what it felt like for me.
Well, yeah.
That's what it felt like for me. That kind of story, It's heavy. It's more meaningful. It's really real gutsy as well. And it pulls the heartstrings, which is, but the fight scenes as well, especially those big godly battles where he's just punching through rock and they're just pounding each other away. And I've never seen that in another game before.
It was a near faultless game. Like, if it would be ever so small criticism I have about that game compared to Red Dead Redemption 2, but they're completely different beasts of games.
Yeah.
But my game of 2018 is God of War.
Yeah, nice. I'll tell you my second. Well, then is so I've got my number 1 is Spider-Man. Yeah. Yep. Number 2 is it's actually not Red Dead. It is God of War too.
Yep.
So
and then Red Dead after that.
So God of War is my second, and then Red Dead. See, honestly, I thought Red Dead would be at the top, and but it is just like Red Dead is one of those games. I absolutely loved the entire experience of the whole game. But it's hefty. It's
a very heavy game in that as well.
Sometimes, it's just a task as well. Sometimes it's an enjoyable task, I'll say.
Yeah.
But it's like when
it's very involved.
You put it on a video game, like sometimes of a night I'll only have like a 2-hour window and I'll jump on and I'll play for 2 hours, but then it feels like I've feels like I've rode just across the map a little bit and maybe done a quick side quest.
2 things, yeah.
And then I'm like, holy crap, it's time to go now. I've got to turn it off. And I've done nothing. I've achieved nothing. And then because it's just such a large game, but it's an absolutely beautiful game, and I got to give them credit for the landscapes and the detail, and even
just everything.
Even the people in the game have backstories. All the you come across a corpse, or there's like a whole story there, and it'll even follow on to another few locations.
There's so much of depth in the game. Like everyone has a story in that. Really so involved. Like the only kind of criticisms in that, like I would have, is like it is very involved, and like compared to God of War, it is a very heavy game. Like, cause you play as like a group of outlaws and stuff, and you're being chased, and like you get that feeling like you're kind of always on your heels in that, and the way the story progresses, you feel like time's running out. It's a very slowed down experience as well, but at the same time, it's very exhausting. You feel like those characters, like you're nearly pushed to breaking point. Like
actually, you're right. It feels exhausting. That's a good way to put it. See, that's the only reason I'm downgrading it to my third favorite game of the year, is because of the overall enjoyment I'm getting out of the game. So obviously Spider-Man is just...
I wouldn't say it was a downgrade, though. I'm just saying that...
not a downgrade.
How this game is... Just like this game as it is a beast. It's a very involved, it is an exhausting experience when you get toward the end of it. Whereas... But that's the story. That's what they intended it to be. So I can't take points off them for that.
Exactly,
it's just
right.
It's like watching a different movie. It's like, hey, I'm going to watch Hot Rod, and that's a fun, silly experience that I can pick up and just enjoy. Okay, now I'm going to watch a movie that's a little bit heavier, or I'm going to go and watch this drama where all these people die and it just absolutely destroys me.
That's the thing.
And that's only a movie that I can... I can only watch that movie once, or I can only every now and then, because it's too much. It's
and you
too
know
intense.
what you're getting with the
heavy.
game. Yeah. So that's the good thing about it. And so that was me, just personal opinion. I was just I had so much fun with it though through the whole overall by the end of it, and there's still a lot for me left to do as well. So I've still got to get all those legendary animals.
Yeah, I've still got a bit to do, quite a bit to do, but I'm just playing so much at the moment.
I want to find that vampire that I keep hearing about.
Yeah, I got Assassin's Creed Odyssey in that as well, and I really felt that if I got through that game, that would that would make my list in that as well, because I love it. Like Origins was a good kickoff point, and they've just kind of done, like, from what they established in that game and kind of just run further with it in this. It's just, it's a lot better, and I really enjoy Odyssey, but again, it's another big experience, and I'm not ready to jump into something like that at the moment, so I've kind of only played it for an hour or two, but I'm going to sit it aside, because I got like Resident Evil 2 coming out.
Origins was this year, wasn't it? Origins
was last year. Origins was last.
Was it? Oh, I must have only just picked it up. Because I only picked it up when my son was born in February.
Yeah, we got it. We all got it early.
Because I remember playing it as I was like looking after this baby sleeping next to me in the bassinet, and I'm like playing Assassin's Creed at the same time of the night. And yeah, I remember that. So that's when I got into that, and I absolutely love that too. But that's not this year's game, so
I really enjoyed Origins and that as well. But Odyssey just feels like it's going to be a lot better, and it's more RPG. You have like dialogue options in that as well, so you can choose what you're gonna, kind of like The Witcher and shit. You choose what you're gonna say and stuff. But the final thing, films of the year. We've had a lot of great films this year. Patrick Brown, what was your favourite movie of 2018? Was it Infinity War? Was it Spider-Verse? Was it something else?
Ooh, that's hard. Do you know what? I'd actually say Spider-Verse was my top movie of the year, but Infinity War is definitely right there with it. It's almost like on par, but let's just put Spider-Verse
for different reasons.
For different reasons. Yeah, I'm going to put Spider-Verse on top just because it's a better story and stuff as well, whereas Infinity War just had
it's a very close runner-up.
Big, meaningful... Yeah, that meant a lot to me, that Infinity War one, because it's just a wrap-up of everything that's happened. And so they're big movies, so definitely. There you go. So I'd say Spider-Verse is number 1 for me.
I'm going to give you my top 5 movies of the year.
Yep, go for it.
In descending order.
Yep.
Starting at number 5, The Shape of Water.
Oh, yep.
It was finally released here in January, February.
Yep.
And I watched it, and I love the shit out of it. I
That's
love
a
the
good
story.
movie.
I love the dark adult fairy tale. I love the cinematography. I love the way it looked. I love the creature design, the suit design.
Yep.
It was fantastic. I love that movie. And like Red Dead, it's a heavier experience watching that. It's a heavier experience. It's not a film I'd watch too often, like put on like every second day or something like that, like I do with other movies. But it is a film I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to watching that again, actually. Number 4, Mission Impossible Fallout.
Ah, yes.
Probably the best blockbuster.
That was
just kind of
great.
like non-comic book movie this year.
Yep.
Honestly, I really love that movie. It's probably my favorite. Mission Impossible. Loved Henry Cavill in it. Loved the stunt work and the practical effects. Loved it. Loved the Mission Impossible flicks.
That was amazing, that movie.
Number 3, Upgrade.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was really
good.
Really
liked Upgrade because it was more... I had to swap my picks around for this because I had Upgrade and then Mission Impossible, but I was like, nah, I liked Upgrade there just that little bit more because it was more in tune with what I like.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of more horrific. It's more body horror. It has a downer ending. You know, I love them downer endings. Number 2, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Ooh, nice.
Loved that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Yeah, nice.
And my number 1 movie this year is Mandy. Because
Mandy.
I always end the year with a weird pick. Like, I have a movie picked, and then I see like one of these smaller indie
love those
movies.
weird ones.
I see these smaller indie movies and that, and then I'm like, last year it was like The Disaster Artist. But even though I look back to that now, I'm like, yeah, it probably wasn't. And the year before, I think it was The Neon Demon was my favorite movie of the year.
I messaged you before about Mandy. I was like trying to watch it
because I watched it.
Yeah, and then I was like, all right, I'll give it a go then. Because I saw you kind of got me in the mood. You're like, oh, he's seen it. It must be pretty good. And then I tried watching it, and I was probably like 15 minutes in.
And then you text me.
I was kind of tossing and turning. I was like, I was like, all right, I'm gonna message you, mate. Be honest, will I like this movie, or is it going to be weird as shit? and
I just texted you back, and I'm like, honestly, you won't like the first hour, but when it gets to 1 hour and 14 minutes, you will love every bit after that. I am totally in love with this movie.
I couldn't make sense of it at the start. I watched probably half hour, and I was like, I had no idea what's going on. And then,
I am totally in love with this movie.
Yeah.
I love everything about it.
It looks like there's more to it. I need to give it a good chance.
I watched it the first time round, and like on my Mandy show, just the first time round, I kind of just judged it as a movie, just as an audience, not going too deep. And I kind of gave it like a 3.5 out of 5, maybe a 4. But then as I went deeper into it, because, you know, like you and me, we're kind of on the same page. Like when we watch Enemy and stuff, and we like these movies with like these deeper meanings, and we have to dig a bit deeper. And
makes you think after.
There's a lot of symbolism and stuff in that, or there's things mentioned in the film. You're like, I wonder if that ties into something. And then you look it up, and you're like, oh, this actually means this, and that fits into the movie like this.
Yeah.
And after I did some of that research, and then I watched the movie again for the second time, I just absolutely loved it. I loved it so much more. But it wasn't until I decided to delve that deeper, like I was always going to do. But when I delved a bit deeper and I did a bit of research, and I'm looking up symbolism and all this sort of stuff, and I love that movie.
Nice.
I really think it's probably...
Number 1, that's awesome.
It's probably Nick Cage's best performance in a very long time. Nick Cage works better when he is paired with a director that kind of fits, or a director and material that kind of fits his style or sensibilities. Because I never really said this, but Nick Cage is actually a very underrated actor. Like, everyone gives him shit because they think he's weird. Like, he's a weird guy. Like, oh, his shit's too over the top. But the guy just thinks outside the box. Like, you know, actors think in this little four-walled box like this, and that's kind of all the normal things, where he goes further outside to pull, you know, references or ideas from other places. Yeah. Which is...
He can act. He's good.
Which is really interesting, and that's the best thing that kind of happens for Nick. He's actually doing this other movie. I was meant to tell you about it the other day. He's doing this other movie. It's another oddball one, but he plays like... The synopsis for it, he plays like a guy who is in like a skin-tight black latex suit, and he's got like all these grenades and that attached to him, and these guys... They enlist him, he's a cop or something like that, and they enlist him to find someone or some mobster's daughter or something like that, or they're going to blow him up if he doesn't do it. And he's wearing like this skin-tight, like fetish black latex suit, the whole thing. And he's like, it's probably the craziest thing I've ever done. I was like, I just watched Mandy. And I'm just like, but yeah, like, so that'll be another interesting one to watch. Like, he does a lot of dog shit movies just to pay like all these back taxes and shit. But that's where we get all the shit fucking movies and that he does. But every now and then, he comes across a material and a director that know how to use him and how to utilize him. And that's what Mandy was. Yeah, it's one of the best movies he's done in probably the last 5 or 6 years.
So Infinity War didn't make you 5 at all, did it?
No. Put Infinity War number 6.
Oh yeah.
Even though like I enjoyed Infinity War when we watched it, but since I've had it on 4K, I've probably watched it like 5 times. Since I've had it. Yeah, I've watched.
That's still fucking massive.
Yeah, I've watched it heaps. Like I haven't
even watched it once since I watched it at the cinema.
I really liked it.
You love watching stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I just love watching stuff. Stuff I love, I just watch it over and over again.
Wow.
Yeah.
I still don't know how you do that.
That's how we're so different, mate. That's how we're apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Anyway, we better wrap this up, mate.
Yep. No worries.
People know where to find us online, don't they? We say it often enough.
Yeah.
Sorry we're not having an episode next week. We've just tacked on our best of 2018 now, but yeah, sometimes you got to put yourself first, you know? Yeah. So, we're going on Christmas break now. I haven't actually worked out how long it's going to be because I literally just decided to do this before you turned up. So... I guess I'll just say to everyone, Merry Christmas. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Have a good New Year.
Have a safe holiday. Have a safe New Year. I'll let you all know what we're doing. I'll post it on Facebook when we're coming back. If I'm not dead.
Don't say that.
Settle down. But, yeah, thanks everyone. It's been a pretty good 2018. Yeah, next year, Red Dead 2. We got a lot coming up. We got Aquaman. We got Bumblebee. Yeah, we got heaps coming up.
Ooh.
Next year, we got lots coming up. We got Avengers 4.
I'm a bit excited for the new year.
Far From Home.
Oh, yeah.
There's heaps coming up next year.
Still waiting for that trailer.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next year on the Bearded Geeks, I guess.
Right. Hey.
Hey. See you guys. Merry Christmas.